Hello, my name is Mel, and I have a 2006 Dodge Ram with a 5.9 liter diesel engine in it, automatic transmission. The designation on it is a 48 RE, and I'm going to tear it down, we're going to rebuild it, and we're going to put it back together. The problem with this transmission was that when the engine is cold and the transmission is cold, it would not pull when you put it in gear. If you would let the engine warm up for about 3 or 4 minutes, you could put it in gear, pull a trailer, do anything you wanted to with it without any problem. It was only when you first started it cold did it have a problem. So I've checked several things in it. I have already pulled the pan off and checked the fluid, checked the filter. It all looked in good shape. So we're going to start taking the transmission apart and see what we can find inside. So the very first thing to do is we're going to pull the torque converter out. So we'll grab a hold of that and pull it out now. You're going to get a good bit of fluid come out of here, so you need to be careful when you're pulling it out that you have a place for it to drain, such as the work table that I'm on here. And it's also very heavy. And we don't have a whole lot of fluid on this one because I drained it for quite a while before I actually pulled it out. So that's the first step. We got the torque converter out and we're ready to go further. Okay, I'm using the ATSG service manual that I purchased online, and I'm going to be following it step by step. So the next thing it says to do is remove the 2 retaining bolts and the transmission throttle valve actuator. All of the 48 REs do not have this, but this is a diesel engine and it does have the electronic throttle valve assembly to control throttle pressure. So it's got 2 bolts in it. We're going to zip them out. And separate it from the rod that goes down through and attaches inside the valve body. We should be able to get this out by putting a little up pressure right here, and it should pop right out. So I'm going to put a screwdriver under here. Go. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is remove the push-in range sensor, which is right here. So this takes a Torx bit to remove it, and it's a T25. Okay, once you take the bolts out of it, there's an adapter plate right here that it fits into, and there's a rubber O-ring seal around the switch assembly. Next, we will be removing the output shaft speed sensor, which is right here in the tail shaft housing. And it has a O-ring seal on it. Okay, next we're going to remove the manual shift lever, which is located right here. And got a through bolt on the lever where it's like a pinch clamp on it. We'll loosen that. Prise it up a little bit and see what it takes to get it off. Oh, there's moving. There we go. Okay, the next step is to remove the bolts out of the tail shaft housing. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Top left one has a bracket on it for the wiring. Okay, that's all of them across the top. Let's see if we can swing this around a little bit. Block it up a little bit so I can get to these bottom bolts. Have one more bottom side over here. Okay. So with all the bolts removed, we should be able to remove this rear extension housing that has the overdrive unit in it. Straight off. Okay, next we're going to remove the thrust bearing, and it is stuck to the overdrive section right here, so I'm just going to pull it out right here. And this thrust bearing, the bearing part goes towards the drive unit where it turns on the drive unit. And we're going to move this out of the way for now. We'll go through it later. We'll move the thrust plate next. Like that. Okay, and we'll put it right here with the bearing. And then next is the piston. We can move it around and get it off. piston has two seals on it. It has one that goes around the outer ring, and then it has one right here on the inside ring. So we'll put these back together, keep them in the order and the direction of the pan. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn this around a little bit. We're going to flip it over. And we're going to pull the pan off. Pull this off. As I said earlier, I have had this off before I ever pull the transmission out. And here's the filter right here. I checked it out to make sure that it wasn't just a simple problem with maybe a clogged up filter, but was not the case. So went further. And there you go. Okay, the valve body bolts come out next, and there are 10 of them. So we're going to remove those. Okay, so the valve body should be free to come out. Okay, I'm going to pull these bolts out because they may be getting hung up a little bit. I'll be looking at the length of them because they are different lengths. Okay, so you need to pay special attention to the lengths of them so you'll know where they go back in. We will set this over to the side because we're going to go completely through this valve body when we're doing the component overhauls and inspections. Next, we're going to take out the 1 to 2 accumulator spring, which is that spring right there. Set it aside. And then you have a piston underneath there. So we're going to pull that piston up. And some models have a spring that goes in here. This particular model does not. Okay, the next thing we're going to take loose is this band, the front band in here. And it has 2 struts on it, so we're going to have to be careful to catch both of these struts when we take it loose. So we're going to roll it over here, and here's your band adjustment right here. We're going to loosen the lock nut. It's a 3/4 inch. We're going to loosen it up, and then we're going to use a T40 Torx bit to take it loose. And at the same time, see if I can get a little better picture of this for you, showing you the struts. So this right here is your anchor strut. Anytime I point with my, sometimes my glove is not the anchor strut and the apply strut. So we're going to hold this in place, back this off. Torch in the end and the lock nut. So we're going to grab a hold of the apply anchor or strut and the holding strut. All right, so there you go. Goes together just like that, and that applies, and the other strut holds it in place. That's for your front or intermediate band. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is loosen up the low and reverse band adjustment screw. So I'm going to use a 9/16" wrench to loosen the lock nut. And then we're going to just back it all the way out. Not going to take this one out, but we're going to back it all the way up. Okay, so that is loose. Okay, we're going to use, first of all, we'll turn this around first. And we're going to use a 9/16" socket. And we're going to remove these 7 bolts around the front pump. So let's take them out. Okay, so we got all those bolts out, and now we're ready to pull the pump out. In order to remove the front pump, there are screw holes right here and also right here that they put into the pump, so you can use little small slide hammers. It's a little hammer that you put on a screw, and you put it into those holes in order to pull out the pump. So we'll just screw these in. Okay, you got 2 of them, 1 on each side. And we're going to just slide these hammers back and forth at the same time and see if we can pull it out. Okay, there we go. Now we'll remove these. Okay, so we're going to remove the front pump. Just grab a hold of it, pull it straight back. It's got a gasket on the back side of it. And that's our front pump. Okay, now that the pump's out of the way, next we're going to remove the front band. Take a look at it, looks pretty good. And then we're going to, after that, we're going to remove the forward and direct clutch housing as an assembly. Okay, and then we have a thrust washer and a plate. Okay, now that we got the forward clutch and the direct clutch assembly out, we're going to separate these two. And we will put them aside for going through both of these assemblies. Assemblies out of the way, we should be able to reach in now and pull out the gear train. Pull it out as an assembly. All right. Okay, we're going to set the gear train over on the subassembly table. And now we will pull the snap ring out, which goes to the low reverse drum, and see if we can get it out. Okay, got the snap ring out. And there's our drum assembly. Note that it has a thrust washer spacer in there. Okay, now we can pull out the low reverse band assembly. And after that, then we'll take out the low roller clutch assembly. And there's your band. And the roller bearing assembly. Okay, I've turned the case around to the back side, and we're going to remove the bolts here in the overdrive piston. Now with the bolts out, we're going to remove the piston. There you go. Have to kind of wiggle it back and forth to get it out. And your gasket comes off with it. Set that to the side. Next, we've got two pin assemblies, one right here and one right here that we're going to take out. So this one, we just reach inside right here and just push it out, just like that. And this top one that holds the servo arm in, I'm going to go around to the other side of it, and we'll come in from this side and punch it out. Just shouldn't take much. It's got two O-rings on it. There we go. And then we should be able to pull it out, holding the pin. So there is our arm for the servo. And we'll just slide it right back in there, and you've got two O-rings on it. Okay, so I think we're ready to flip it around and take out our servo pistons. And we're going to remove the rear servo spring. Okay, so there's our snap ring, spring retainer, spring, and servo piston. Okay, now we'll go to the front servo. Got our snap ring and our spring retainer, our spring, and our piston. So that's got everything done on the disassembly part of it. Okay, so we've completed the complete disassembly of the transmission. In the next video, number 2, we'll go to the component section and go through each one of the component sections and make the repairs, replace the clutches and the steels and all the seals and gaskets, and that will do it for this video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next video.